This program will help me to find out the biggest of two numbers. Same statement is printing again and again until the condition is satisfied. I'm using the for loop. In the for loop, it's very important that you need to remember three parts. Hello everybody, I welcome to yet another beautiful practical session for all of you. Practical session in the sense I'm not dealing with a lab program, but I would like to teach the concepts practically, instead of teaching, with a theory, only theory concepts. I have explained this concept in my theory class also, but so I will show you how exactly these concepts are working for all of you. So in this session, I will show you how exactly conditional operator and for loop is working. All right. So let me not speak much about the header files in this session, because in all the sessions I've been explaining about the header files. And then again, I have to start with a main function, and I have the return type as void. Void in the sense it does not return anything. So the third line in this program is void. So this program will help me to find out the biggest of two numbers. So this program, I will be explaining what exactly in this program I'll be repeating. Please make a note of it. In this program, I will be explaining how exactly conditional operator is working for all of us, and what exactly the syntax that I have to maintain for a conditional operator is what I'm going to demonstrate with this program for all of you. So please write on the program, or you can also take a screenshot of this program. I will just move out of the frame. So this will help you to understand, or this will help you to identify. So the biggest of three numbers, is it? No, the biggest of two numbers. All right. Let's understand. Let's trace this program. I have the main function. Execution of your program always starts from the main function. So we all know that. So my execution of the program starts from here. All right. So fine. I have taken how many variables here? I have taken three variables. How many variables I have taken? Three variables. Of what type? Of integer type. Then what is the meaning of this? I have to deal with only integer values with this variable. That's what you need to remember. So fine. I've taken the variables, and int is a data type. All of you know that. And also you know that CLR, SCR in the sense, to clear the previous output, I'm calling this function. This is what you need to remember it as a function call. What is this? This is what I will call it as a function call. So fine, we all know that what exactly CLR, SCR is all about. Let me not discuss that now. So what is that I have given here? So here, enter the value for B and C is what I have given here. What is that I have given? I am asking the user to enter the value for B and C. So fine, user will enter B and C. How? I have given the scanf statement here. Please observe here. I have given the scanf statement. In this scanf statement, I have given %D and %D. So please observe here, %D. So how many values I will be reading? So I will be reading two values. %D and %D will help me to read two integer values, in fact. All right. So fine. These values will be stored in B and C. These values will be stored in B and C. So I have to use %B, %C. %B in the sense address of B, and %C in the sense address of C. In that address, I will be storing the values is what you have to remember. So fine, I have done that. What is the next important line? So please remember, this is going to be very, very important in this program. What exactly I have here? So I have given, so A is equal to B greater than C (B:C). What exactly it means? So you need to understand each and everything. Okay, you need to understand each and everything here. Observe. You just forget A is equal to, okay, as of now, you don't worry about A is equal to, you don't have A is equal to right now. So let me explain this part first. You are checking B is greater than C or not. You have entered the values for B and C, right? So you are checking whether B is greater than C. If that is true, then it will return this B to this A. Okay. the value of B will be returned to A. Suppose if this condition fails, then the value of C will be stored in A. So then after that, what is that I'm performing? I'm trying to print the value of A because I don't know what is the value of A. So I need to print the value of A. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So how do I print it? So within double quotes, whatever you want, you can give. So, but it's mandatory that %D you will give. Why? Because you are trying to print the integer value. You're trying to print the integer value. How many values are you trying to print? 1. So that's why I've used 1%D. After that, I will close the double quotes and then comma. What is the variable name? Okay, so I have A. So in that value, in that variable, what is the value that I have? That's what I'm trying to print. Then after that, you all know that I have getCH. Again, it's a function call. Again, it's a function call, which will help me to see my output. So let me show you. Let me explain this, how exactly it is working. Let me execute and show you. So Alt plus F9 plus enter. So Control plus F9. So guys, it's asking me enter the value for B and C. All right. So let me enter 10 is getting stored in B. All right. And 30 is getting stored in C. So let me check. So biggest among 2 is 30. All right. So this is what you need to think. This is how the program is working. Let me check the other possibility also. So Alt plus F9 and Control plus F9. So I have had given 10 and 30. Let me check again 40 and 10. Okay, so now B is having the highest value. So let's check that. So 40 and 10, let's check this again. All right, so biggest among 2 is equal to 40. 40 is the biggest. So this is how a conditional operator is working. All right, that's what you need to understand with respect to conditional operator. All right, so along with this, let's get into the loops concept in this session. Let me explain for loop for all of you, how exactly for loop is working. All right, this is a beautiful program that I have. Again, I will be explaining how exactly for loop is working for all of us. So please understand, let me not get into the basics now. All right, so let me get into the logic straight away in this program. So guys, so please observe what is that I have here. I have the header files. All right, after that, I have the void main. So fine, I have the void main along with that. So you need to remember one more thing. No, execution of the program starts from the main function and you have the return type as void. So it's the same thing even here. All right, I have a variable 1. So one variable I have taken of type int. Where exactly I have used that? So let me show you that. So what is that I have here in the print f statement? Enter the limit. What is that I have given? Enter the limit. So I'll show you what exactly this program is doing. This program is designed or developed to have the tables. All right. So what is that I have? Say, for example, you just have to tell me which table you want. So you just have to enter only one number. For example, if you want 2, you just have to enter 2. If you want 3, you just have to enter 3. All right, let me execute and show you how exactly it is working. And after that, I'll trace this program so that you will be able to understand it very clearly. So guys, I'm just compiling, so I don't have any errors, and I will be running this program. So it's asking me to enter the limit. So instead of limit, let me change it. Okay, enter the table. So whatever you want. So I want 2 ones are. Okay, so how do you pronounce it? If you say that now, most of you will say 2 ones are. Okay, it's not ones are. It's ones are. 2 ones are. That's how you should pronounce it. All right. So that's not a thing now. Let's understand. So I need 2 ones are. All right. 2 on the table. All right. So it's giving me. All right. So fine. Please observe that. So 2 into 1 into 2, 2 into 2 into 4, 2 3s are 6, 2 4s are 8. So is it correct? Are you guys getting? Is the correct output? Yes, of course it is correct. All right, moving on to the next one. Let me check. Let me show you one more option. Tell me some other number of your choice. Let me enter 6. All right, so you guys are getting? So this is how the program is working. So let me show you how exactly it's working now. So fine, please observe carefully. Let's understand this concept clearly. All right, what is that I have here? I'm asking the user to enter the limit. So instead of that, You can also change it, like, enter the table that you want. So that's a printf statement. Whatever you give, it will come. So fine. After that, so you are storing a variable. You are storing a value in a variable. So that's what I'm utilizing. Whatever I have here, I had declared here. So to store whatever the user input, that is what I'm getting. So I'm storing that in the variable a. So that's what you need to remember. So fine, I'm doing that. So after that, I'm using the for loop. In the for loop, it's very important that you need to remember 3 parts. How many parts I have? 3 parts. The first part that I have is I is equal to 1. What exactly I is equal to 1 is? So you are initializing the I value. What is that you're doing? You are initializing the I value. So again, I have declared this I here. Please observe here. I have declared the I there. So I is of type int. I will store only the integer value. So that's what you need to remember here. So fine, I'm initializing the I value. So that is the first part that I have. After that, you have to give the semicolon. Then after that, you have the second part. What is the second part that I have here? The second part that I have is condition. This is what I will call it as a condition. So please remember this. This is the condition that I have. What is the second one that I had? Condition. What is the next one that I have? I have the increment. Okay, I have the increment. So please understand this. So fine, I understood 3 parts I have in the loop. So it's very important that you need to observe. I don't have the semicolon for loop. So only for the statements I will have the semicolon. So please observe here. I have semicolon here. I have semicolon here. I have semicolon here. I have semicolon here. All right. So for function calls I will have, but not for the functions. Only for the statements I will have. I will not have for the while loop. I will not have for the for loop. I will not have for the function definition that is in a main. So please remember this. All right. Whenever I'm calling any predefined functions, I will have the semicolon. That's what you need to remember. So fine. What exactly this for loop is doing? So let's understand this. Let me clear all these things. So now let's understand how exactly the for loop is working for all of us. What is that I have here in this statement? This statement is very, very important. So this for loop, okay, this is running, okay, this is beginning, like, I value is 1 now. So from I value 1, okay, it will execute till it becomes 10, okay, less than or equal to 10. So till 10, it will execute. So please understand, I value is getting incremented 1 at a time. So how many number of times whatever I have inside this loop will be executed? 10 times it will execute. Okay, 10 times it will execute. That's what you need to remember in your mind. So let's understand this. So fine, right now I value is 1. Okay, what is the I value right now? I value is 1. So first it will check the condition. First it will check the condition. I is less than or equal to 10. Is it less than or equal to 10? Yes, I is 1. So 1 is less than or equal to 10. So it is less than or equal to 10. So fine, the condition is true. It is less than 10. That's why the condition is true. So fine. Then after that, it will execute this statement, whatever I have. So what is the statement that I have? It's very important that you need to remember. So I need to have my output like this. Let's imagine 2 into 1 is equal to 2. So this is how my output should look like, right? So fine. This is number, integer. Again, this is star. This is again integer. Again is equal to. Again, this is an integer. That's what I should get. Now this should be the output for me. How do I get this as an output? So please understand, I have that in my printf. So this is an integer. Integer in the sense, what is that I have to write in the double quotes? So I have to write the %d. All right. So fine, this is done. So for the star, what is that I have to do? I have to write star as it is. All right. So that is what I have done here. Please observe. After that, what is that I have here? I have again integer. So I have to write %d. So after that, what is that I have here? I have is equal to. I have to write is equal to. So fine. After that, what is that I have here? I have integer. Again, I will write %d. Okay. After that, I will close the double quotes. So fine. So for this %d, what should be the variable name? What should be the value? So this is a question now. you have to write what is the table, right? So you are entering. So for that, I'm storing that in the A. I'm storing that in the A. So like for example, you have entered 3 tables, right? So 3 is getting stored where? So 3 is getting stored in A. So that's why I'm writing A. So A in the sense this one. So A value is 2. Let's understand that. Okay. So what will be printed? 2 will be printed. So after that, I have star. Star will be printed as it is. So after that, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 till 10. So I value, okay, whatever I have here. So that will run from 1 to 10. So right now, I want I. So after this is I. I will take I. So then after that, so I want A into I, because 2 into 1 is equal to 2, right? So that's why I will take it as comma A into I. That's what I have given here. So this will give me the tables. All right. So after that, I have taken A into I. So that's what I have taken here. All right. So this statement will execute one time right now. So you understood what is that I have given here. So A in the sense right now, A value is 2. That's what the user has entered. I value is 1. So after that, 1, what is the A value? 2. 2 into I value is 1. So 2 into 1 is 2. So that's what I'm trying to print in the first iteration. What is that I will print? So 2 into 1 is equal to 2. This is what I'm printing. Okay. So please observe, I have also used /n. Why? Because after this, the next output should print in the next line. That's why I've given /n here within the double quotes. So fine, this statement is executed now. What will happen after that? So after that, I value is getting incremented. I value is getting incremented. So I value was 1. Now I value is getting incremented to 2. So fine. After getting incremented, so again it will check the condition. So 2 is less than or equal to 10. So is the condition true? Yes, of course it is true, because 2 is less than 10. So fine, condition is true. Again, this statement will be executed. How? The same way. So A value right now 2. It is never changing. All right. So fine. I value is 2 now again. So what happened? So 2 into 2 is equal to 4. It will print. After that, again, it is done with the statement. So I value getting incremented. I value is now right now 3. So fine. So again, it will check the condition. Then if the condition is true, it will come inside. So again, it will print. So I value right now. So A value remains as it is. I value is 3. So 2 3s are 6. So like this, it will keep on printing until the condition fails. That's how the for loop is working for all of you. This is what you need to remember with respect to for loop. One thing you need to remember with respect to for loop. So this statement will be executed again and again until this condition fails. So 3 parts you need to remember with respect to for loop. The first one is initialization. Second one is condition. Third one is increment. So that's what you need to remember with respect to for loop. All right. So please understand this. This is a best example that you can remember to remember the for loop. All right. So fine. I'll show you some more easy, simple examples. I have shown you the table, right? So let me make it very simple now, so you will understand much better. So I'll remove everything if you're finding it difficult. Let me just show you how exactly for loop is working. Let me remove everything. Okay. I'm just printing the I value, how exactly I value is incrementing. Let me run this. No errors. Okay. Enter the limit. I don't have to have the limit right now. So I'm just entering for the namesake. So this is not affecting anything right now. So let me just enter 3. So I value, please observe I value. I value is, it is running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 till 10. So it should come in the next line. So I'll show you how to do it. So here I will give /n. All right. So let me just remove this limit so that you will not understand. So you will not have any doubts. As soon as you run this program, user is not entering anything. So you will get the I value, right? So let me check. Getting? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 10, it's printing. So that's what you need to observe, how exactly the for loop is working for all of you. All right. The same statement is printing again and again until the condition is satisfied. That's all you need to remember with respect to the for loop. So guys, by this I've come to the end of this practical session. So we'll meet you in the next session. I will be discussing about For loop, is it? No, I have already discussed for loop. So in this session, I will be discussing while and do while in my next session. So keep waiting for the next session. Take care. Bye bye.